Hi again. John Wesley Bready, the last chapter of this Freedom Whence, page 346. Freedom Shall Live is the name of the title of the last chapter. If this evangelical succession, with its accompanying spiritual reciprocity, is apparent in the lives of the great English-speaking evangelists, it is doubly apparent in the movements which sprang up as fruits of the Evangelical Revival. The whole Protestant foreign missionary movement, as we now have seen, with the single exception of the small Moravian effort, grew out of the Evangelical Revival, and if the pioneer missionary societies, such as the London, which is interdenominational, the Baptist, the Scottish, the Church, and the Wesleyan, were born in Britain, America soon caught the divine enthusiasm and kept the pace. The lives of such missionaries and missionary leaders as Carey, Livingstone, Moffat, Judson, Martyn, Abel, Zwemer, Mott, Spear, and Mary Slessor are part of the common heritage of Protestantism. As for Hudson Taylor and the China Inland Mission, which he founded, they belong as much to America as to Britain, while as for Sir Wilfred Grenfell and his Labrador mission, exactly the same is true. Indeed, it was under the influence of Moody that Grenfell planned his life work. Again, it is a glorious thing that China, at a time of national travail, is blessed with Christian leadership, notably its great Generalissimo and Madame Chiang-Kai-shek. This is referring to the period before World War II. And it is not significant, and is it not significant, rather, that this leadership is the fruitage of Protestant evangelical missions, planted and nurtured equally by American and British missionary societies. Here surely is a rich harvest of heroic and sacrificial sowing. In the sphere of education, this spiritual reciprocity and common heritage are equally pronounced. Princeton, Pennsylvania, Dartmouth, Brown, and Hampton's Sydney universities are all products of the spiritual awakening in America, of which Whitefield was the center. Methodism, as it developed on American soil, became the greatest single inspiration to the higher education of the United States. And this is not surprising, for Wesley certainly was the most effective adult educator the modern world has known. Moreover, it was as evangelical influence became widely diffused throughout America that Presbyterian, Baptist, Congregational, Lutheran, Reformed, Quaker, Episcopal, and other churches accomplished their amazing work for higher education. In Britain, a like educational impact was scarcely less pronounced. Nor were such efforts confined to America, to Britain, and to the English-speaking world. Wherever evangelical foreign missions were founded, the establishment of colleges and schools, to say nothing of hospitals, accompanied the proclamation of the gospel. And such educational bodies on all continents have proved a bulwark of defense against the onrushing modern tide of secularism, naturalism, and materialism that have attacked the very foundations of Christian faith and morality. But not only through colleges and universities has this educational impact been expressed. The Sunday School and Young People's Society of Christian Endeavour have proved among the most effective of all Christian educational forces. The former organization, an early offspring of the Evangelical Revival, was founded in England by two of Wesley's personal friends, Hannah Ball and Robert Raikes. The latter institution, a child of American evangelism, was established by Reverend Francis Clark, a Congregational minister, after a local revival in his own church in Portland, Maine. Both of these movements have accomplished remarkable educational results throughout the whole Protestant world, and the methods of both have been copied even by Roman Catholic societies. The humble origin of the Young Men's Christian Association, yes, the YMCA, a worldwide organization which evolved from a young man's prayer circle meeting in an upper room of a great London business firm, we've already explored. The faith and initiative of a youthful clerk, George Williams, supported by the wise counsel and guidance of the association's first president, the noble Lord Shaftesbury, launched the YMCA first as a national, then as an international organization. But it was not till the advent of the great American revival of prayer in 1857-58 that the association experienced its most remarkable growth. And next to Sir George Williams and Lord Shaftesbury, no man has done more to extend the work of the YMCA than did Dwight L. Moody. The modern temperance movement began with Wesley and his preachers, for they all abstained from intoxicating beverages, and they all fought the ravages of the liquor traffic wherever they went. In this movement, again, the spiritual reciprocity issuing from the Mother Revival is unmistakable. As evangelical religion spread over Britain and America, temperance societies and temperance fraternal orders sprang up on every side. For to all converts of this movement, the human body was the temple of God, and dare not be corrupted by intemperance and indulgence. In Britain, the greatest leaders in the temperance movement were perhaps Sir Wilfred Lawson, Agnes Weston, and the Right Honourable Philip Snowden. In America, temperance leadership was more colorful, more resourceful, and perhaps more effective. The results of the labors of John B. Gow, Francis Willard, and Billy Sunday are temporarily under a cloud, but with a fresh revival of true evangelical religion, they will again break forth in a purging fire. In 100 other directions, the heavenly manna of the Evangelical Revival fed movements for human betterment and social reform. The abolition of the slave trade and slavery throughout the British Empire, without the shedding of a drop of blood, is probably the most majestic social attainment of the modern world. It was entirely a product of the Evangelical Revival, and twice-born men of a half a dozen different denominations were among the leaders who achieved this immortal victory. In America, the slavery problem was more intimate and more thorny, but there too the evangelical emphasis on the infinite value of the downmost soul finally proved the strongest factor in freeing the Negro. The labors of that valiant evangelical Christian and inimitable social reformer, Lord Shaftesbury, were reflected in humanitarian legislation, not only in America, but in many other lands. On the evidence of the Right Honourable Arthur Henderson, no less than 18 of the early leaders of the British Labour Party were lay preachers. Dr. Thomas Bernardo, the father of Nobody's Children, as a youth was converted from skepticism under the influence of a great Irish revival that had crossed directly from the United States. And the incomparable achievements of his homes for destitute children have enriched the world. And so, as this benign spiritual legacy spread abroad, hospitals multiplied, societies for the prevention of cruelty to children and even to animals sprang into being, prison systems and penal codes were humanized, restorative processes for the insane were instituted, social welfare centers were established, and in countless other directions it was manifested that he who loveth God loveth his brother also. Nowhere was this common heritage with its joyous reciprocity of spiritual power more spontaneously expressed than in the realm of sacred song. The new infusion of soul life overleapt all paths of prose expression. Its recipients were under an ecstasy of impulsion to express their newfound grace and joy in overflowing strains of gratitude to the redeeming Christ, the Son of God and Savior of man. Examine the great Protestant hymn books, not only of Britain and America, but of the world today, and the chief source of their inspiration is soon apparent. Not less than 70% of their praise selections have been directly inspired by the evangelical experience of transforming grace. One further aspect of the legacy from this modern Pentecost deserves fuller notice. The Evangelical Revival, even more than the Reformation, created a demand for Bibles and for educational religious literature. Both the British and Foreign Bible Society and the Religious Tract Society were established in England to satisfy that demand, and both soon had their counterpart in the American Bible Society and the American Tract Society. The two mighty Bible societies have now translated the Scriptures, in whole or part, into over 1,000 different languages and dialects, and have circulated more Bibles than all the world's other societies put together. This again figures from about 1938. The Religious Tract Society of England, too, has circulated a vast quantity of spiritual literature, but the American Tract Society has grown to such proportions that it now has circulated some 900 million copies of religious tracts, periodicals, and books in many languages, and about 40 million of them have been fully bound volumes. All these publishing societies, moreover, have been run on a non-profit basis. So billions of Bibles and thousands of languages by now, 80 years after this. And this has all happened in the last 200 years, basically, since the revival took hold in both Britain and America. Next time, the very last segment of Freedom Shall Live, this marvelous book by Bready, this Freedom Whence. I'll put in a link. Even Charles Taze Russell and J.F. Rutherford told the truth about who had fulfilled Matthew 24:14. What did Russell have to say about how Matthew 24 had been fulfilled even in his day? I'll put in a link to that video. See you soon.